Hey, and welcome to another episode of Tree Service Marketing Profits Podcast. I'm your host, Wesley Smith with treeservicedigital.com. And today we've got a business owner who wants to share his story in the tree service industry out of Oregon. We have Phoenix Sun Tree Care owner here, Owens Ryan. And Owens, welcome aboard, man. Thanks for joining today.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah. So I guess what we'll start with is kind of so you're in the Oregon market, cool name for a tree service company, and just maybe how you got started in the business or what maybe, sparked your interest in the business in the first place.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, so I'm in Southwest Oregon, and I started my business about 2.5 years ago. And yeah, I've been loosely in the tree service, tree care business on and off for 15 years or so, but always on the ground. I've been an orchardist for 15 years and always in the dormant season, pruning fruit trees and Japanese maples um, and then of course living rurally, always doing my own firewood for other people, and just enjoyed being around the trees and in the woods. And really, what spurred me to get going and learn how to climb and all that was we recently moved a few years ago to Oregon, and I have a mortgage and more more overhead than I've ever had before. And I thought, I got to do something different. And we moved from California, my son and I had a vegetable farm there, and just growing carrots and tomatoes is challenging economically. I had a market farm, and I knew I had to do something different to go. And I already had an arborist background to some extent, with the exception of climbing. And so I just thought, I'm going to really pivot and go for it.
Awesome. So yeah, nothing
Yeah.
like having a kid too. When you have a young kid at home, it's that extra motivation to go make something happen. I know that's kind of the case with me several years ago too. And so awesome. Yeah, that's a bigger pivot, kind of could be sort of considered some of the same type of thing with the farming and all that, and then kind of moving into the tree service space. So like when you moved out there, how did you kind of get started? Did you work for a company first or just kind of start doing it on
Mm,
your own, or how did that go?
no, I've always worked for myself, whether having my farm or before that just landscaping, odd job in it. So that's just sort of what I'm accustomed to. And so yeah, I just started doing odd jobs, dropping trees for people, or pruning, or landscaping, or gardening. And then knowing that I wanted to take the arborist thing to the next level, I just started reaching out to really mainly one local arborist who's sort of the Babe Ruth of climbing around here. And just calling, knocking on his door, and no answer, no answer. And finally, after me just twisting his arm, he said, I'll teach you a few things, but you gotta get your contractor's license and insurance. And because I don't want to take on, he's like about 70 now and didn't want to take on an employee. He just works on his own. And so yeah, I started looking into things, and I ended up going up to Washington and taking a arborist class with the ACRT. And yeah, really just hit the ground running with his support, and a couple other of my friends who I've been subcontracting with. So both, starting my own business and also learning how to climb, and doing it safely. So yeah, that's been my last couple of years. And there's just so much to it, not only just climbing trees, but really hustling on creating a brand and a business has been a journey, to say the least.
That's awesome. So everybody listening, he just shared a very golden nugget there that I think everybody can kind of relate to, is persistence, right? The word persistence. So if you're starting a business and you don't have any customers yet, you've got to start knocking on people's doors. Or if you want to get that person to mentor you or give you some pointers in business that's been doing this for a long time, You got to repeatedly call it. They say diligence and persistence beats what is it, like things that fall in people's lap every day of the week, because persistence
Mm,
is something that you just, it's a muscle that you really can't teach. You just either have it and you got to go for it, or not. So if you're getting value from this video so far, like and subscribe to our channel. Or if you have any questions, comment below. Tell us your story, how you got started. It would be awesome to see that in the comments section. But Owen, so you finally kind of connected with this gentleman, or did he still kind of didn't want to meet
no,
ever?
yeah, no, I connected with him, and yeah, I've subcontracted with him and just been his ground guy on a number of jobs, and really, I took that course. It's a week-long course with the ACRT, and I had thought, oh, I'll take the course and just be on the ground running, and I took it and thought, oh man, this is really dangerous, and yeah, perhaps I really need to learn a lot more before I just get up into the trees myself. So yeah, I worked with him a little, and also befriended another contractor in the area that took me on as a climber. He mostly does bucket truck work, so he's brought me on as a climber and has taught me a lot. And so yeah, a combination of learning from some seasoned veterans and learning on my own, figuring it out as I go.
Yeah, a lot of it you have to kind of feel your way through and just get those reps as you're doing it to kind of get it under your belt and learn it and all of
Yeah,
those types of things too. You mentioned something else previously about the branding and all of that, which is a very important part of starting your business too, is creating that
yeah,
identity of your company. So tell us a
yeah.
little bit about that. It's a cool name that you've got for your business. And then so how did you go about, branding and creating like the image or maybe the logo or kind of the brand of it?
Yeah, yeah. So Phoenix Sun Tree Care. It's named after my son. His name is Phoenix, and sort of a play on words with SUN instead of SON. And I have been internet adverse my entire life. I've never had. I still have a flip phone. I've never had social media and that kind of thing. So the first couple of years, I'm like, and especially following in the footsteps of my mentor, who's old school. He's like, he used to put ads in the paper. I'm like, I think I could be successful without the internet too. And so I like you said, persistence. I was just knocking on doors. Really, I sometimes I'd go door to door if I didn't have a busy week, and I found property management companies and just went and shook hands and introduced myself, and handing out business cards talking about my business, and very low budget too. So I haven't even done mailers yet. Um, but actually within the past couple months, just feeling the financial pressures of having your own business, and I'm a single parent as well, so just like really just trying to make it. I thought, maybe I need to put down my adversity to the internet and just go for it, because I want a successful business. And I've been listening to your podcast for months now, and that's what it's all about. And whether I like it or not, people use the internet, use Google. And so a friend of mine builds websites, and he's been working on a website with me and got me a Google profile and a Facebook page, and I'm on Yelp and all these things I've never used before myself, quite honestly. um, so yeah, building the brand in a big way just since starting this website project. This is the first time it is happening in a big way. Other than that, it's just me showing up as a person, um, and just coming in with my authenticity, which worked to some degree. I got clientele, and worked with a couple property management companies, and um, but it's not consistent enough where I feel comfortable, like, okay, I'm set this month. It's me like, okay, I got to hustle this month if I want to make it. Yeah. So, anyways, that's it.
No, that's good. That's what we call kind of building that foundational aspect of your online presence. It's
Yeah.
the website, whether it's good, bad, starter website, doesn't matter. Just have one, and that way you're
Yeah.
building kind of authority on your domain. Your .com for your website, and then because time is kind of a trust factor with Google and the search engines as far as like ranking in certain areas too. There's a whole
Yeah.
lot of other SEO tactics to get up at the top and all of that, but
Yeah.
as far as like the foundational elements, you've got to get your domain. established, your website, your Google
Yeah.
business profile, on the Google Maps, like you're doing. Start getting
Yeah.
reviews, as many as possible on there. The social media pages, that's excellent, and people eventually, as you kind of grow and the word of mouth builds, the more of those online assets that you have that people can just kind of just quickly take a peek online, it just builds that confidence in them to give you a call. It's like anything
Yeah.
else. And so it just kind of snowballs into that. And so I'm glad. I mean, that's great to get that going. That's one of the foundational aspects. And some of the other things too, like you're right. I mean, even my dad, and I mentioned this a lot on the podcast, but he had a plumbing company for about 30 something years. And it was basically Yellow Pages marketing that brought in a lot of his new business. And he was in a
Yeah.
lot of the little local, like city books and stuff they would mail out to different suburbs and stuff around the Atlanta metro area. And so those
Yeah.
would produce a few calls, but the Yellow Pages was the lion's share. And
Yeah.
that's back when everybody got that thing and they read it. And nowadays they don't really even mail them out anymore. And so it's a big shift for about 15 years from like, the offline to like the online stuff.
Yeah.
Now it's just predominantly the online. And
Yeah.
the more things you do there, the better, because people have all these different ways they're kind of searching the internet or doing things and stuff. So the more places you are, the better, for getting more people calling
Yeah.
and coming in. So that's
Yeah, no doubt. It seems like it legitimizes a business to have a
a
website and
good word.
online presence.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
rolling with it.
That's great, man. Congrats on all of that.
Yeah,
And
thanks.
that's good. This is all food for thought and great for listeners who maybe you're on the fence or on the cusp of starting their company, right? A lot of people have
Mm,
that desire. Maybe they're working for a tree company now. Maybe they're interning, maybe not the word intern in the tree industry, but, working for somebody and just kind of learning the ropes, or maybe a field crew tech, somebody who is kind of aspiring to be a business owner. These are all the things that you have to think about, as you kind of maybe create your business entity, the LLC, with your state, and then just kind of move forward with all these steps of building it. It's kind of like a jigsaw puzzle you're putting together, and just building one thing, after another to build that company. It's
mm,
the same thing with us here at a digital marketing agency. I mean, you start off with
mm,
no clients, and it's the same type thing, right? And
yeah,
so, a lot of good nuggets there, man. Appreciate you sharing that. Yeah, some of the things we talk about too is like you mentioned, like the direct mail flyers. That's always
yeah,
good to build that awareness and those like zip codes you want to target, but also
yeah,
just getting out on the foot, man, and handing out flyers or putting out door hangers, making sure your trucks have your
mm,
lettering on it, because all these are opportunities for somebody else to find you and call you too,
yeah,
while visiting a customer to give an estimate or just driving around town or whatever. So yeah, a lot of these things are just, they're high energy, low cost in the beginning, and you just kind of
mm,
have to do it. And as you evolve and get more money to invest, you kind of just continue to do other marketing channels.
yeah. Yeah, no doubt. It's kind of been that one thing at a time, and having listened to you and your guests for so many months now, sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming. Like, oh, my truck's not wrapped yet. Oh, X, Y, and Z I don't have yet. And you had one guest on, I think a man from upstate New York, and he said, just like one thing at a time. And I really took that to heart. It's like, it's just where I'm at, financially or energy wise, it's all I can do is one thing. And so right now it's the website and it's the online thing. Um, but yeah, and as you said, just getting out there on foot. I do think that might be a strong uh, suit of mine is, just working with the clients and introducing myself and being gregarious and yeah, and some amazing clientele has come that way. I think I even wrote handwritten letters to a bunch of property management companies, and only one got back to me. But he said, I have not gotten a handwritten letter in years, and I don't even know anybody who writes in cursive anymore. So I'm willing to give you a try, and we've had a great relationship, and so I think it has been, especially because I don't show up with at this point I'm a truck and a trailer, and I don't show up with a website or some of these things some of the bigger companies in my area have. It is a leap of trust for some clientele to take me on, and I'd say I've showed up and they've been surprised, and thankful, and it's sort of been word of mouth from there.
That's great. And one thing that'll really, really help with that is just getting those 5-star reviews on your Google business profile and
Yeah,
maybe a few on the Facebook page too. So you've got reviews in a couple of places. And it
yeah,
doesn't take that many reviews for people to start really gaining confidence and calling you and things like that. And like you
yeah,
said,
yeah.
you're one conversation away. A lot of people
Mm,
are focused on that destination of where they want to get to in the business, and they don't enjoy the in between, the journey,
mm,
the working, behind the scenes and building it. And we've all got time. I mean, it's one of those things where like all we have is time a lot of times. So enjoy the journey, right? It's going to take a few
right.
years, but just enjoy every day because you're getting closer and closer to just continuing to build your contacts. It's like this momentum thing. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger over the months and months and years and years.
Yeah,
The more you do it, the more people know about you, the more people can refer you. It just
yeah,
gains a lot of momentum over the months and years. And by doing those things, you're just giving yourself more of an opportunity to be seen more and more and more. More impressions is what they call it, like in the marketing world.
yeah,
So that's
yeah,
really the key. And that's awesome. Like you said, the handwritten letters are very unique. Like a lot of people don't do that anymore. And to your point, yeah, I know our kids in school are not learning cursive. You know what I'm saying? So I think that went by the dodo bird several years ago. But I heard something like they may start reintroducing it or something again. I'm not sure, but yeah,
yeah.
that's
Certain
unique.
schools have got it, but yeah, it's going.
Yeah, exactly. But that maybe you're maybe onto something if you like committed to
Mm,
doing 20 of those a week, or 10 or 15 of
right,
those a week, whatever you can, muster up. That one HOA could be a six-figure contract at some point. You just never know.
right, right.
So you're one conversation away, and it's just putting that right foot in front of the other every day and just
Yeah,
forward with it, right?
yeah, yeah. No doubt.
Good. Well, any other maybe peculiar things that have popped up along the way, or maybe what aspirations for Phoenix Sun Tree Care coming down the line?
Yeah. So, well, my aspiration, I want to grow, and with that said, I love climbing trees. I love climbing trees in my young adulthood and my childhood, and now doing it with ropes and a saw is just, if my little boy self could see me now, he'd just be like, yes, adulthood is going to be just fine. And so, I really want to get to a place where my business is successful and generating a nice income. You know, as of now, I have a couple part-time employees that sort of have some other things going on, but also fill in for me when I need them. So, but I would like, one or two full-time employees. But really, I'd love to stay in the trees. That's really where I want to be. So, it's that line, and I hear it in some of the folks that you interview of like, how much do I grow in the sort. Yeah, I've kind of been thinking about that a lot recently of, okay, I do want to grow, and I know sometimes with success comes a lot of other responsibilities. So I think there's a balance that I would like to achieve. But ideally, I'd love every month to be booked out a month ahead of time. That's sort of a goal of mine. And financial goal, Um, as of now, I'm probably like 60 or 70,000 a year for the last couple of years, which is just making it. But I feel proud of that, and but I'd like to be at the 100, 120, something like that. So yeah, but the biggest thing is that balance of, like I said, I've got a son, 8-year-old son, and I want to, obviously, so much of my time with him is me running a business, but I'd like to make sure I have still maintain that quality time with him, and ideally some time for myself, and yet still, be doing well.
Yeah, that's great. One of the things you mentioned there is enjoying what you do, which is very important. You love doing what you do, so that's awesome. That's number one, really, because if you don't enjoy what you're doing, I mean, it's almost kind of a waste of time with how short life is in general. So you may as
Yeah,
well be doing what you want to do. And then on top of that, there really is no right or wrong way to do the business. I mean, if you don't
Mm,
really have those aspirations to grow to a bigger company, then it's perfectly fine. I mean, its success is kind of in the eyes of the beholder, right? So it's like if you have a business where you're busy and you have you and your crew and you guys have plenty of work, hey, that's success. And then other people, they want to grow this big, huge company and sell to private equity one day, and that's another form of success. But it's only a matter of like what the business owner wants to do because you're in the driver's
right,
seat with it. You know what I mean? So it's like,
right.
yeah, there's all different types of opinions and personalities that want to do different things. So there's really nothing wrong with that either.
Yep,
So that's kind of
yep.
that's kind of a mix of what we kind of get into a lot of times when we do these interviews
Mm,
too. Is some people have those big goals. Some people's goals just, hey, I just want to be me and the crew and be booked out. And there's nothing wrong with
yep,
either one, right? And
right,
I kind of go back to my dad's plumbing company he had for 30 plus years, and he liked the work of plumbing repair and things like
right,
that. So he didn't really ever want to get out of going to the job sites and stuff like that. So
right.
it just depends on the owner and kind of what their goals are. And
Yeah,
I think that's good. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yep,
Awesome. Well, yeah. Anything else that maybe during, I want to be respectful of your time, and I know we have,
yeah.
you guys have things to do too. And but any parting words of wisdom maybe for somebody on the brink or on the fence of starting their company, like should they just go for it, or there are a few things that maybe you should look out for in the beginning, or any other tidbits you might want to share before we
Hmm.
part off the podcast here.
Yeah. Well, boy, I mean, in my case, I just went for it. Partly just because I had to, you know. But yeah, I mean, as you said, it life is short. You know, at some point we're all gonna die. So, you know, I just want to be sort of in my power, if I could use that expression, and just following my heart. And so, yeah, that's just it. Is follow your heart. I think that's what I really lead by. And yeah, so I just want to make sure I'm in integrity with my values, and my morals, and really just show up and do what I love, and hopefully make a good living at it. So yeah, I would just say go for it. I mean, if this is what one's calling is, and as you said, there's so many routes to get to the end goal. So yeah, just being present with where you're at.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've made it happen so far, right? You got to where you are. You got your business, taking care of you and your son and everything. So
Yeah.
that's success in most everybody's book, and in my book too. So that's awesome that you did it. You went for it. And as long as you continue to work hard and do right by others in the community, I mean, your business is going to grow. And everybody has got to start
Mm,
at that seedling point where you plant the seed and you water it and it keeps growing and then you get into a
yeah.
tree at some point, right? So that's just where we all start in business. So
Yeah, yeah, no, it's true, and I'm definitely in that sort of fledgling or seedling phase, and quite honestly, I mean, I say I'll follow your heart, but it is challenging, in the day to day grind and the hustle of it. But I can feel it, especially with this website coming. It's like, oh, there's going to be a pop, that moment where, and maybe it won't be a moment, but yeah, I feel the growth coming, and that feels good.
yeah, and a lot of it, being a business owner, just kind of being out on an island by yourself. A
Yeah,
lot of it's just that uncertainty of the next day and what's coming
yeah,
and all of that, right? I mean, but we all deal with it, and most of us, wouldn't have it any other way, right? What do they say about business owners? Business owners are work 70 hours a week to avoid working 40 hours a week for somebody else, or something like that. You know
pretty
what I'm
much.
saying? Yeah. So kind of the old term there. But yeah, I mean, and it's true. So it's just one of those things that you buckle up, you get moving with it. What helps a lot and what's helped for me is just joining masterminds and like-minded communities.
Mm,
So like with you, when it gets to that point, the TCIA is a great resource for tree service business owners. There's probably some local state ones that you could join,
yeah,
or the gentleman that you're talking to, that's networking as well. So
right.
all those things really help just kind of solidify your decision to do it, and then be moving forward with kind of like where you want to go with it, right? Because other people have
Yeah,
done it. So
yeah, yeah,
I really
yeah, no
appreciate
doubt.
your time, Owens, and thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I appreciate yours too. And I wanted to say, obviously this is your livelihood and business, but I can tell that you genuinely care about growing people's businesses. And yeah, so I just wanted to thank you for your service and all you do.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for hopping on. Thanks for reaching out. I think we probably reached out to you too. And great story, amazing story. A lot of people can learn from just getting started, getting going. It's always good to hear other people doing that because there's for
Mm,
everybody that tells their story, there's 1,000 people trying to do what you just did. So
mm,
it's awesome when you share
yeah.
like that. It helps others. So I appreciate it. And until the next video, if you guys like and subscribe to our channel, go to our Facebook page, like our page. We've also got a free Facebook group called Tree Service Marketing Secrets. Just look us up on Facebook, and we'll put those links in the show notes as well. And Owens, take care, man. Have a great day. Appreciate your time.
Hey, thanks, Wesley.